Rewind back to 2006. I got a GameCube after begging my parents to get me a game console because I wanted to play video games so badly. And the GameCube was my very first console. I still have it, and it holds a very special place in my heart. And then fast forward to 2008. I got a DS in January of 2008 to be more exact. And I loved the fuck out of it. I had saw it advertised a bunch of times on TV. I saw a bunch of DS games advertised. And I thought it was a great console. A great handheld console, I should say. And then fast forward to 2010. I was at a cousin's birthday party. She had a Wii, and all of us kids were playing Mario Kart. Not Mario Kart. New Super Mario Bros. Wii for, of course, the Wii. And after that, I was begging my mom for a Wii. I wanted a Wii so fucking badly. And then a few months later, at my communion, because I participated in that whole religious bullshit back then, because of course I believed it. I was 9, okay, but anyways, this video is not about religion. My grandma from my father's side came by. She watched me get my communion and all that, and then afterwards we had dinner, and then she said, "Oh, I have a present for you." And then she brought out this big wrapped box, and I unwrapped it, and I saw it was the Wii. And oh my god, I was fucking ecstatic. I was so happy that I got a Wii. Ugh. And I played it a lot. I mean, I played my GameCube games on it for the first few months because I didn't have any actual Wii games. I played a bunch of shitty movie-based games and TV show-based games on it because the Wii was backwards compatible with the GameCube. At least the early models were. And then, I got some Wii games, and just like the GameCube, a bunch of them were fucking shitty movie-based games and shitty TV show-based games. But come on, I was like 9 at the time. I didn't know any better. And looking back, is it so sacrilegious of me to say that the Wii sucked? I thought it was a bad console. Hate me all you want for that, but I do think it was a bad fucking console. I loved the fuck out of the Wii for about a year, until 2011, and then I just got bored of it. Just like that. 2012, I barely touched it, and then I got the Wii U, and I used that a lot, and now my Wii is in the garage collecting dust, just like, just like 100 million other Wiis are right now. Because the Wii appealed to so many people back then. Oh my god. You gotta remember, this is before the tablet and smartphone boom. This is back when smartphones had those big ugly keypads. They didn't have the touchscreens and not nearly as advanced as they are now. And this is before the casuals moved on to tablets and smartphones. And they loved the fuck out of the Wii. They ate the Wii up. The Wii was more of a party system than an actual, serious console aimed for gamers. And, I hate the Wii for that. I really do hate the Wii for that, because for a good decade, from 2006 all the way just up until 2 years ago, 2016, and Nintendo branded themselves as a fucking family-friendly company that made family-friendly games. They tried that with the Wii U and it failed. They tried to recapture the success of the Wii. They tried a gimmick that failed, and they thought they could recapture that same success, sell 100 million units like the Wii did. And again, it kept Nintendo in this hole for exactly a decade, all the way from 2006 to 2016, and then the Switch came out, and they're just now trying to dig themselves out of this hole. Trying to be serious again. They're trying to appeal to hardcore gamers again, not the casual people who bought the Wii. Or most of the people who bought the Wii were just casual people, just casual gamers, if you could really call them gamers. Fucking families or old people or people on those lines, people who don't normally play games. And, the hardcore gamers during that generation, they just used the PS3 and the 360. They couldn't be fucked with the Wii, because the Wii was branded as this family fun time console that was mainly for, parties and, playing games with your fucking parents and, having fun with your family. Gamers didn't want anything to do with that shit because, actual gamers don't fucking play with their families. They don't fucking play with their grandparents while they're fucking playing their actual, hardcore consoles. It implemented this stigma in a lot of people's minds that Nintendo was this kiddie company that made kids games and made fucking party consoles, when before the Wii they didn't really have that stigma. A lot of hardcore gamers, they liked Nintendo. They liked playing on their systems because they had a lot of memories, and their systems actually did appeal to those hardcore gamers. Up until the GameCube really, and then the Wii they started branding to families and shit, and the Wii U they tried that and they fucking failed miserably. And speaking of the Wii U, I know some people fucking yell at me for this, but the Wii U was a better console. I know this is probably shocking for some of you to hear, but the Wii U is definitely the better console compared to the Wii. I think the Wii was easily Nintendo's worst console. And before you throw the Virtual Boy at me, okay, the Nintendo realized the Virtual Boy was a big fucking mistake, and they pulled that shit prematurely. They discontinued it. It wasn't out for that long. We're talking about an actual console that Nintendo had faith in, okay, and that was the Wii. The Wii sold like hotcakes, and I think it's truly Nintendo's worst console, actual like serious console. And as much as the Wii U sold like dog shit, as much as the Nintendo, tried to brand it to families and, the casuals again, I do think there was at least a little bit more of a serious vision, at least a little bit, with the Wii U, because the controller was more normal. Of course, it had the screen in the middle of it though, but still the controller was much more conventional than the Wii's controller was. It wasn't just this stick thing. It actually did feel more like an actual controller, minus the screen. But it felt like more of a conventional controller. You didn't have to swing it around or connect a nunchuck to it. None of that really really gimmicky shit that the Wii had. And I fucking hate I fucking hate the Wii controller too. It wasn't really that impressive. The motion controls, all you did was just flick your wrist, and that's it. With Wii Sports, you didn't have to actually pretend you were playing the sport. All you did was just flick your wrist for tennis or bowling or the baseball game on fucking Wii Sports. And knock the Wii U all you want for not getting that much third party support, but the Wii got a whole bunch of fucking shovelware. Come on, can you just admit it? A bunch of these games trying to cash in on the whole motion control gimmick that was huge at the time. They didn't care about the controls, they didn't care about the story, they didn't care about the graphics or anything. They just put this shit out, just trying to make a quick buck, and that's it. Just a bunch of shovelware garbage for the most part on the Wii. Well, the Wii's third party at least. I know it got a handful of good third party games, and of course the first party games that were made for the Wii were good, like the Galaxy games and the Zelda games, but really aside from that, it just had a bunch of shovelware garbage. And the Wii again, the Wii U didn't have a lot of third party support, but at the same time, it didn't get as much shovelware as the Wii did because it didn't sell nearly as much. And it mostly got a handful of okay or decent or actually good third party games, and it also got a lot of good Nintendo first party games. And even though it's vastly smaller than than the original Wii's, I do think the Wii U had the more solid library. And with the Switch, Nintendo was just now realizing they fucked up with the whole family-friendly image that they painted with the original Wii. And, again, like I said, for exactly a decade, they were in this hole. Big third-party devs wanted little to nothing to do with Nintendo because they knew the consoles they put out were fucking gimmicky as hell, and they didn't want to bother trying to make their games work with them, and also they were vastly underpowered compared to the PlayStation and the Xbox. And again, they didn't want shit to do with Nintendo, and now Nintendo is just now scrambling, going on their knees and begging third-party developers to put their games on the Switch. And it's working. They got big developers like Rockstar on their side now. Rockstar put L.A. Noire, great fucking game by the way, on the Switch, and that's pretty big. Rockstar again is probably one of the biggest third-party devs out there right now, and of course you want a company like them to be making games for your console. Now Nintendo knows that they really desperately need to shake off that family-friendly image and get the attention of major third-party devs and hardcore gamers again, because if they don't, the Switch, if they didn't, the Switch would have been a big fucking flop, and no one would trust Nintendo again, because if they had two flops in a row, why would anyone fuck with the console right after that? Then they would have flop after flop after flop, and again, they would not gain the trust of hardcore gamers and major third-party developers again, and Nintendo is now trying to recapture the attention of both of those groups. The Switch is a vastly better console than the Wii. It has a gimmick that's actually good, and it was also better than the Wii U. It was much better than both of those consoles combined. So yeah, I hate the Wii, deal with it. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.